Rachel Hollis is the host of the highly popular Rise podcast, a best-selling author, and was named by Inc. magazine as one of the top 30 entrepreneurs under 30. She went from having a rough upbringing, moving to LA as a 17-year-old to pursue her dreams, to building multiple successful businesses and writing the best-selling book, Girl, Wash Your Face, which sold over 4 million copies. Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 where we believe nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 to 9. For my top 10, top 10, 9 to 9. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Rachel Hollis, and my take on her top 10 rules for success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Be confident.
As a recovering people pleaser, I struggled for years with wanting to make sure everyone was happy, and the idea that someone, my husband or my in-laws or my parents, might be disappointed in me was crippling. So I've done a lot of work, and there are certainly areas of my life where I still struggle with that, but there are some areas where I'm savage about it. And one of those for me is I do not care what other people think of me for having goals and dreams for myself. And I just sat in meetings all week with really big companies and people, and they would say, like, what does the future look like for you? Like, what is, and years ago I would be like, oh, I don't know, we'll see what happens. And now I'm like, Oprah. Like, if Oprah and Ellen had a baby, which may be possible here at some point, it's someone who can make you laugh and then also can challenge you to show up for your own life. But I couldn't have claimed that 5 years ago or 10 years ago. I would have worried what everyone in this room thought of me, because who says that? What a douchebag. But I might still struggle with, what you think of my hair or my writing style, but I certainly don't care what you think of me for having a dream. And I think that it's one of the things that cripples women most, is they have this desire on their heart, they want to pursue something for themselves, and they're too afraid of what other people will think. They're too afraid of what, like, Marissa from 8th grade is going to think of them for signing up for a half marathon. They're too afraid of what their mother-in-law thinks of them for wanting to start a business. And they just drown in the shame associated with it. And nobody calls it BS. Nobody says, like, wait, we're all dealing with this. And so none of us can step forward into who we're called to be because we're too worried about what you think of us.
Rule number 2, don't compare yourself to others.
One thing you say in there is, you say, and this is true for all of us, we need to drop this, you say, comparison is the death of joy. And the only person you need to be better than is the one you were yesterday.
Yeah.
So speak to that just for a second.
Well, this is a massive, I don't know if men experience this, but this is a massive problem with women, is they are constantly comparing themselves to her life, to her Instagram feed, to her kids, to her marriage. They're comparing their real life to someone else's highlight reel.
Sheesh.
And so they are forever coming up lacking. They forever feel like they're not enough. And I get it, because the times that you tend to compare yourself are when you are most insecure about something. So you're like, well, I'm not sure how to do this. I'll look outside myself to find the answer. I always talk about when I was a new mom, that was when I was most insecure. And so I would look at Pinterest, I would look at magazines, I would try and see, like, how do celebrity moms do it? And then I would just cry in a puddle on the ground because I couldn't get it together. I'm like, oh, she's got 6-pack abs with a 2-month-old baby, and I'm still in the jeans that I was wearing, at 9 months. So comparison is the death of joy. And not only does it kill your joy, it kills your motivation, it kills your energy or your desire to move forward, it makes you more insecure. And so I'm like, put your head down. It's like a math test in 8th grade. Keep your eyes on your own paper. Like, focus here. Stop looking at what everyone else is doing. Stop paying attention to her life and live your own.
Yes.
You start in this space. The only person you have to be better than is who you were yesterday.
So
That
good.
is my That's my why. That is what I am on earth. Like, what is my greatest value in the world is I want to be a better version of myself every day.
I love it.
Like, I might not always get there, but every day I'm striving. I want to be a better mom and wife and leader and teacher and writer and everything. It's like, man, whatever you're doing, do as unto the Lord. Like, every day I'm trying to be better. And so, like, it doesn't matter if I'm not as great as 50 million other people, as long as, like, am I better than I was yesterday? Yeah.
Rule number 3, take action.
Y'all heard the Tim McGraw song, Live Like You Were Dying, right? I kept thinking of that. It's awful, and it's also a blessing if you choose to see it like that. A lot of times we think about dreams and goals, and you know, this is my jam, like my favorite thing to talk about. But for some of you, you keep talking about the dreams and goals because you think you have time. Someday I'm gonna do the thing. Someday I'm gonna stop caring what my mother-in-law says. Someday I'm gonna stop taking insults from strangers on the internet. Someday. And what I am trying to challenge you to think of is, what if you don't have someday?
Rule number 4, write down your intentions.
Morning routine is hugely important. So starting, making sure that meditation and prayer, making sure that workout's in. I do Brendan's planner. I do my own journal. So I had this habit for years where just as part of my to-do list, every day I would write down the dreams that I had for my life, and I would write them down as if they had already happened. I had heard that years ago at a conference. Someone said, it's if you say, like, I'm going to make $1 million this year, all your brain hears is going to. And you already have a bunch of other to-do, so why does this sentence stand out? But if you said, I have $1 million, and you're nowhere near that, it makes your brain sort of wake up and take notice. And so every day for years and years and years, I did this practice. And it is insane if you go read my notebooks from 5 years ago. It's the life I have today. It's absolutely crazy insane. And that's not like, oh, I wrote it down and so it happened. It's, I wrote it down every single morning, and so every single morning I reset my intention. This is where we're going. This is where we're going. This is where we're going. And it's not just things like, I want to have a New York Times bestseller, which was a huge dream of mine. It's also writing down every day, I'm an exceptional mom. I'm an exceptional wife, because that's the woman I want to be. And as silly as it sounds, if you don't remind yourself every single day that that's your mission, then you're not resetting where you're headed. And just that simple prompt, it might be something as simple as like, oh, I'm gonna send Dave a text and tell him he looks hot today. Or I'm gonna, write a note for my kids and leave it on their pillow so that when they get in bed tonight, they'll find a surprise. It's just the simple reminder of how I wanna show up in the world. So that was hugely powerful for me.
Also, if you want to have more self-love and learn from other successful women entrepreneurs, check out my 254 series. They're free. The links to join are in the description below.
If I fail, it's on me. But if I succeed, it's on me. Nobody else gets to decide my destiny.
Believe that you're worth it. Believe that you can. Believe that you're capable of whatever you set your mind to.
Rule number 5, choose to be full of love.
I'm a big believer that self-confidence comes from keeping promises that you make to yourself. That if you can start by just keeping the promises you make to you, you begin to build a reputation with yourself of, I can trust me, I like me, I'm good, right? I can achieve. How can that apply for a woman in any area? What would be some of your recommendations of how to change that? That's a hard question. But what are some practical ways somebody can begin to change that?
So I'll tell you, for me, the big realization was, it all comes down to, I want love, I want approval, I want notice, I want all of these things. And I was drowning. This is where the anxiety came from. I had this desire in my heart to be an entrepreneur and build something big and write books and do these things. And our family, our extended family on both sides, wanted me to be a stay-at-home mom. And they really, really struggled and were very vocal about the fact that I wasn't, because that's what their lives looked like. And so for me, I was just drowning in that feeling of, I think I'm called to do more, so I will pursue this version of more, but I'll do it kind of in secret.
Incognito
like
almost.
I'll work really hard, but I won't ever talk about it. And I was being pulled in too many directions. And when I had this realization, like, oh, I'm going to choose to be so full of love, to love everybody else so well that I don't seek it out in other people.
Exactly
Like,
right.
I'm gonna love you so hard, everybody, even the people that disapprove of me.
Very good.
That I don't need your love because I've got enough for both of us.
Very good.
Like, it sounds a little cheesy, but that really was what changed it for me, was you don't have to keep chasing this thing.
Rule number 6, live your life truthfully.
I follow, y'all know Gary Vee. Does anyone know Gary Vee? It's not really the crowd for Gary Vee. Okay, Gary Vee is an entrepreneur. He has a podcast, and I listen to him a lot to talk about business. And he said something several months ago that I loved, because people always ask, like, well, what do you do if you put something on social media and like people get mad or they don't like it? And how this manifests in your life is, what do you know, well, my mother-in-law doesn't like that I work, or my sister doesn't like that I'm building a business, or my husband doesn't like that I'm trying to train for a half marathon because it makes him feel uncomfortable, right? We all have those scenarios in our lives. And when someone asked him this question, he said, I just live my life truthfully, and I let the chips fall where they may. He's like, I am gonna show up in every space as my authentic self, and I have to be okay with you not liking who I really am, because that's the price of my freedom. And I would rather be free and be who I am and have less followers, free and who I am and have my cousin Crystal think that I'm weird, but at least I get to be who I really am. Do I love and accept myself as I am? And do I feel the freedom to be who I really am unapologetically?
Rule number 7, stop making excuses.
Going back to your book, I think that one thing that's really, really interesting about it is the way that you structure it around, like 80% of the book is the excuses that you literally tackle them one by one, which I thought was really smart, and then skill acquisition.
Yeah.
So why that structure? Why excuses and skills?
Because the excuses are just what I hear all day from women in DMs and emails, standing in line at a book signing. It's all the reasons why they can't do what they want to do. And it makes my head explode, because it's like, what? Like, you're not, it drives me crazy. So I thought it's well and good for us to talk about the things that you need to do to achieve this stuff. But none of this matters if you don't have this foundational presence of mind to get out of your own way and to stop using that as a crutch for why you can't do what you want to do. If I get flack for anything in this space, it's the idea that I tell women that anybody can accomplish anything. And I really believe that to the marrow of my bones, because there is no reason that I should have the life that I have, the business I've built, the being on stage. I shouldn't have any of this. This is working every single day for the last 15 years to achieve the thing that I want to achieve. You had said something recently, or maybe it was on your Instagram, where someone said, how do I become a speaker? And you were like, speak everywhere. Everyone that go everywhere. People are like, oh, I would love to be a speaker, but I can never talk like you. And I'm like, I spoke at old folks' homes. I spoke, because they can't run away, by the way, if anyone needs this tip. The people laugh. I'm like, no, it was for real. MOPS groups, which is mothers of preschoolers, they exist all over the country. I'd speak at the opening of an envelope, and I was horrible. My first speeches, it was this. Maybe somebody, it was and it's so embarrassing, and your hands are shaking, and I had note cards, and I keep the videos on YouTube because I want people to see the progression of what a decade looks like. I've done it so much. I mean, you need me to do a keynote right now, I got you, I can make it up. But it didn't start that way. It was so many years and so much effort, and the problem is, people they're like, well, I can't because, or here's the reason why. And I'm like, yeah, me too. I had all those excuses. And it didn't mean that making the decision to move forward, suddenly it got easier. If anything, making the decision to move forward is harder. Because now, John Maxwell said this to me the other day. He's like, which is the most name-droppy thing, but I was interviewing him on the podcast. We're not having a slumber party. But he said, movement causes friction, always. And so just because you make the decision to move forward doesn't mean it, now we're doing it. No, now you've got all kinds of other problems. So excuses were really important for me to tackle, just because I think, love my girls, but women especially, we need to call BS. And you need to have someone get in your face and say, with all the love in my heart, this is not real. This is something that you've decided to cling to because it justifies why you're still in the same place.
Rule number 8, take control.
Let me give you a couple more things you've said that this is kind of hard. Our society makes plenty of room for complacency or laziness. We're rarely surrounded by accountability. We're also rarely surrounded by sugar-free vanilla lattes. But when I really want one, I somehow find a way to get one. What did you mean when you said that?
The idea that if you want something, it's like if you really want something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
you gotta get resourceful,
yes.
right?
And I think there is this, I feel like the tide is shifting, and I hope that this is true, but so often I feel like women especially, like, it feels like their life is living them. It feels like life is, it's all just happening to them. They're sort of getting pulled along with the tide. They're not making any choices. They're not taking control. It's the norm, right? It's normal to go, you're exhausted because you were dealing with the kids all day, and then you're gonna go watch, Netflix all night and drink too much and numb yourself to what's going on, and then wake up tomorrow and do the same thing again. And because they don't ever have that space, because they never take a step back and look at their life from like 50,000 foot view, they don't even understand that they have control of how to change it.
Oh boy.
And you might not have the tools. I'm gonna quote your podcast to you again, or I think it was yours, but Joe Dispenza said, in an age of this much free information, ignorance is a choice.
Correct.
So you might not know how to change things.
Yep.
You might not know how to get healthy. You might not know how to change your marriage.
Yep.
But it all exists on the internet right now for free.
Rule number 9, work hard.
I can't stress this enough, and Dave hates when I say it because he's like, it sounds so negative, but I am not special. I am not special. Because too many women are going to watch this and they're going to see my social media numbers, or they're going to hear about this book, or they see me speak and they think that there's something special about me, that I'm wired in a different way, or that I have special genes, or no, I just kept working. I have to say it over and over and over because I do not want anybody to have an excuse. I don't want them to talk it out because they're comparing their beginning with my middle. This is a decade of work to get to where I am right now. I posted this the other day, 10 years ago, I was I was going and speaking at MOPS groups, which is mothers of preschoolers. You don't know what that is. I was speaking at MOPS groups and the local senior citizen home, and I would shake, my hands would shake. I'd be so, with sweating through your clothes. I was so terrible at public speaking, but I really wanted to be a good public speaker. I feel like you've talked about this too.
Absolutely.
We suck at first, but I just kept going. I just really believed that I could have anything that I wanted if I was willing to work for it. So if you take nothing else away from my work on this planet or my time with you, let it be that. I am not special. I have just worked really, really hard.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is arm yourself with knowledge.
I have a high school diploma. I have built a company. I have a staff now of 12 or 13. We are doing these massive campaigns, these really big projects with huge brands, and every single thing that I know, literally, I learned through trial and error. I learned from Google and YouTube videos like the one that you're watching right now. I know that it's possible to gain massive and incredible knowledge even if you aren't traditionally educated. When I have felt insecure, when I'm afraid to talk about my business or myself, the best armor that I know of is knowledge. Knowledge about my industry, knowledge about what other people charge, knowledge about the product that I'm offering you, knowledge about the ways that this is going to be beneficial. If you are scared to talk about yourself or your company, you need to arm yourself with information. Let's say that you do screen print t-shirts with cute little sayings on them, which is one of my favorite things to buy off Instagram. So let's say that you do that kind of thing and you feel nervous to tell people about it. Well, the first thing I would arm myself with is, what are my competitors doing? What's happening in my industry? What trends are really popular? What's the price point that other people sell at? What's the shipping look like? Does it take, if it takes, 7 days to get my shirt and it takes 2 days to get her shirt. Like, you need to know what's going on, and arming yourself with that information makes you feel more confident. Because I think what we're afraid of when we talk one-on-one with a prospective buyer is the questions that they're gonna ask us. You know what you know, but holy crap, what if she asks me about, like, is this non-GMO food product that I put into my cupcake? And you don't know the answer. That's what you're afraid of, are the things you don't know. So if you can just arm yourself with a ton of information, it's gonna give you courage.
Now I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy, but before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video? And write down in the comments below when you're going to take action on that takeaway this week. When you schedule in what day, what time, and what place you're gonna take action, you have a 91% chance of actually following through, compared to just 35% if you just got motivated but never created a plan. And when you share your plan and have accountability, you give yourself an even higher chance of following through. So in the comments below, write down your single biggest takeaway as well as your specific plan of action, because I want to celebrate with you.
We are all creating. I might create books, I might create Instagram posts, you might be creating a family, a home, relationships. We are all in the habit of creation. I mean, goals and dreams. Like, if you have hung out with me long enough, I feel like there is so much information. I have tried to instill this for so long in so much detail, but the crux of it is this. I don't even think it's about the goal or the dream. I really believe that we become who we are meant to be in pursuit of something. I think when we have a goal or a challenge in front of us, it makes us come alive. I think when people are burnt out, so many people tell me, like, I'm burned out, I'm so burnt out. It's because you have lost the pursuit of something. You're so tied up in the minutia that you don't really get to change and become, you're so in it. So the goal and the dream matter. It doesn't even matter what they are. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you want to be CEO or build a business or become the pie eating champion of Iowa. I don't care. I just care that you are working towards some kind of a dream. It can be little things and big things. But in my life, the joy in my life came in the journey. And you don't journey anywhere if you don't have anywhere to go.
If you want to change your life for free in the next 30 days, check the link below me. Or if you want 10 more awesome rules from Mel Robbins, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.